Okay, we're starting.
Okay, we're here. Hey y'all,
Okay.
what's up?
Hey.
We're back, episode 3 of 2800. Thanks to everybody who listened to our last episode. We really appreciate
Mhm.
y'all. Um, so episode 3, we're gonna talk about episode 3 of
Oof.
Wandavision.
Episode 3,
Also,
man.
thanks to everyone who slid in into our DMs and
Oh yeah.
up things we should look into, like fan theories and Easter eggs and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Very interesting stuff. I spent all morning looking at it to the point where
Yes.
my brain was on overload and I had like a brain fry. I was like,
we have a lot to talk about today, and
yeah,
yes,
especially this episode. If y'all seen the
Yeah.
episode, I feel like it goes without saying, don't listen to any of these episodes if you
Oh yeah. If it's for
because
a
we're
second there,
we're only two gals.
we're just
So there's
this
only
is
so
fun,
much that we know
but we
and
love it. But
can
we
look
love it. I want to know everything. Tell me.
but
Tell me
yeah,
whatever
reach
you
out
think.
to us. Like, yeah, we're
Yeah.
we literally just want to know more about the
Right.
show and Marvel and all that is basically what this podcast is.
Let's get into it. Okay. So a quick recap. Episode 2 left us off with a pregnant Wanda, very suddenly pregnant Wanda, and everything was in color. So episode 3 started. We're in the 70s now. Very much Brady Bunch vibes. The editing,
I am
the
living
song,
the go-go
everything was
boots.
just chef's kiss. Her hair, the outfit, everything was just yes. Okay, so in this episode, it mainly centers around Wanda's rapid pregnancy and how quick. I think it was like in 12 hours she gave birth
Yeah,
to her twins.
I think this is
So
the most we've gotten in an episode.
mhm,
Like
I
the
agree.
most them using their powers, the
Hmm.
most of people breaking character or
Information, yeah.
snapping
Yeah,
out of
we
it
they really gave the
in this
fans a lot of
episode.
info in this one. Her and Monica. Also, the outfits, Monica's outfit, makeup,
Oh, that
I was like,
blue! She
I
came in. I
know.
was like,
She
yes,
looked good, bro. I was like, yes,
good.
as you should. Okay, so they consult a doctor, friendly neighborhood doctor, who was about to go on vacation with his wife. And, Wanda starts to experience like false contractions that puts her around 6 months of carrying the baby, which is not normal because at that point it'd been about 2 hours. And so then Wanda, we see her powers kind of go into like overdrive. I thought it was really cute when her water broke, so like it started raining in her house. I thought that was really funny. Every time contractions happened, she would display some of her power unwillingly.
Yeah.
So she made the power go out in the neighborhood. The scene where the water goes off. A lot of she makes it stork with her powers, yes. And so her pregnancy progresses rapidly. Then Vision uses his powers, and I thought that was really interesting. He picks up the doctor and like flies back with him, and it's as if no one cared or no one noticed. Like it's so weird because they noticed. Like the doctor makes a statement that he's like, "Oh, we went so fast, I
Yeah,
thought it was
I think
flying," and then cue the laughing track. But I was like,
this
"What? Like
episode is
you?"
definitely
It really
almost
exposed the town
breaking
people.
the reality. Like I was reading something and they were like, it's almost like they're starting to wake up, which is why,
Yeah.
well, when you get to the end of the show, it becomes very
Okay, so
clear. Yeah.
that happens. Meanwhile, Agnes's husband, I'm forgetting his name, is acting sus, mad sus. He
That's
is
not her
trimming his
husband.
hedges. Oh, I don't know
The
who that is.
It's just their neighbor.
Oh no, he's from part of the neighborhood watch group or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
that Vision was. Okay, he is trimming his hedge and is just like staring, kind of using it as an excuse to look into their house,
Yeah, and then
and
that's the thing.
cuts into the wall. And Vision calls him out on it, and Homie acts like nothing happened. He's like,
Yeah. He's
great,
like, oh.
yes, I did just vandalize your property. And Vision's like, okay.
Yeah.
And so Agnes, oh, lo and behold, Agnes is here again. I still don't trust her. Y'all can't
No,
tell.
wait till I tell you, girl. You're gonna be like, oh.
I'm excited. So Agnes pops over. Meanwhile, Geraldine is inside helping Wanda. So now Geraldine sees that Wanda's having contractions, helps her deliver the baby. She has seen a display of Wanda's power. There were some parts where Wanda was trying to hide her pregnancy, and I was like, no, she knows. Like there were parts where I was like, oh, she chose to act like she doesn't know. Monica, Geraldine, whoever. And so she helps the doctor deliver twins. Vision comes back. And the doctor has now seen her power. Geraldine's now seen her power. And then a glitch happens.
That's the glitch,
and I thought
before that.
Before, yes, it does. I thought I was losing it. First of all, I went back a few times.
So well placed. I was watching like, with my dad, and I was like, "Did you see that?" And he was like, "What do you mean? No, nothing." And I was like, "No, go back, like, because our dog was barking." I was like, "No, go back, like something weird just happened." It was crazy. Like that was so.
Yeah. I was like,
for whoever edited that, you are.
Yeah, no, that was good.
Whoever
wrote
that in.
So no, yeah, that was good. So then that glitch happens, and that was our first little clue into things are falling apart here. Then she has the twins. Let's see, and then Agnes and their neighbor are talking outside, and it looks like they're gossiping. They're definitely. She's like, "Oh, but did you tell her?" And Vision's like,
worried. It's the first time that you see the other characters. Well, you've seen some of the characters before this, like break out of character,
but not in genuine distress. Like not
Agnes
showing
looks
a lot.
Like worried. Like she's like something's like is. Like they're about to be exposed, and she's like,
right,
is Geraldine in the house?
In there? Like, oh, is Geraldine? Like, and then they say that she has no family and no husband.
It's about to tell Vision, and she's like, no.
Vision something. Like he says, we're all, and then she goes, stop it, and then turns around and laughs it off. And I was like, whoa. But that's the closest we've gotten to seeing them actually break character and actually tell Vision and Wanda, like, hey, things are not all they seem. And she's like, oh, but she doesn't have a family. She doesn't have a home. And then Vision's like, what? Cut to Geraldine inside with Wanda. And all of a sudden, Wanda brings up the fact that she is also a twin.
Yeah.
And we're reminded of in Age of Ultron, the death of her twin brother.
It's like a weird, like, wake up. Like, she looks at the kids, and it's like, you could see, she's such a great actor. Because you could see, like, in her eyes, like, almost like a veil is, like, like
lifted.
And she's like, I had a twin. Almost
for a second. And she speaks
Sokovian. She does like a little like Sokovian.
She does a little Sokovian lullaby. And it seems like for a split second she remembers who she is. And obviously when she says Pedro's name, she has her Sokovian accent back, which we didn't talk about in the first two episodes, but that was very noticeable to me. I was like, where's her accent? But makes sense, right? She's assimilating to American culture.
Well,
she's in this utopian society.
In Infinity War either.
No, she didn't.
That was like
she
a
didn't.
Weird thing that I know.
Yeah, Elizabeth.
And she was like,
Elizabeth Olsen just made the executive decision to do that. So, but for a split second, we see the Wanda we know and love. We see the Scarlet Witch come back, and she talks about her brother, and then Geraldine goes, "He was killed by Ultron, right?" And that's when
Wanda's like, what did you say? And then Geraldine tries to cover it up, like she didn't.
Yeah, she's like, I said you're a strong woman. Haha, should I say it again?
Like, and then Wanda was like, no, like, what did you say? And like,
what did you say about my brother?
Onto her, and then you see the sword, like a sword
symbol
necklace
on her necklace, and like, Wanda recognizes
it.
Who
are you? She was like, what is that? She's like, who are you? Like, what are you doing here?
And Wanda recognizes it, like, because Wanda knew that was a symbol for her to freak out. Like, that was my thing. I was like, oh, here we go. And so cut to Vision outside, and then Vision comes in all worried about his wife and mother of his kids now.
Because they had just been like, where's
Geraldine.
Geraldine. Because they were like freaking out about Geraldine, and now he's like, I just left that woman in there with Wanda. Like, what? Like, what did I freak out?
And can we talk about Miss Elizabeth Olsen's acting in the last scene? I was like, oh no! I was like, oh, stuff is about to go down when Wanda does that head tilt, and you see it. You see the very cold and calculated, like, she had to rush home. She had a prior event. She said, like, she had to rush home. Yeah. But there's this look of, like, calculated malice, calculated intent. Like so we know that Wanda is the one that eventually. So it cuts to Geraldine outside of the realm, and it kind of looks like
out, like
right, and you know that it's Wanda.
Out.
Right, and you know that Wanda did it because it has Wanda's signature red, like aura around it. That's like Wanda's magic, right? We always see it being red, and so that's confirmed that Wanda pushed her out of WandaVision, and it kind of looks like in the first Thor. Remember those tents that S.H.I.E.L.D. had around the hammer when they first found? It looks like that. It looks like a S.H.I.E.L.D. site. It looks like that a lot.
Yeah, it looks like they found a place.
They had,
and they were like, this is where we're gonna have this town, and they built their headquarters around.
Yeah, it looks like a base or a headquarters or with tents and a ton of technology, a ton of military.
And it's the first time we see any of that. Like, it's the first time we see outside. It's the first time we see the sign that says Westview. We see like these like cars pull up with like
so many. And Geraldine is just cornered by agents everywhere, which I was kind of confused because I was like, wouldn't they know that? So now I'm thinking there might be a third party, but I digress. We'll get there. And then let's talk about the commercial real quick. It was for
we see another Hydra commercial. So I read somewhere that so just to put it out there, the sources I'm pulling from is a website called CNET or CNET. I think it's called CNET. And then Screen Rant, and then I believe Inverse, and then there's another one. But those, I just want to put that out there so people know where I am finding these theories. There is a theory that all of the commercials are memories from Wanda's past. So you get the Stark so almost like the Stark memory, which kind of makes sense, which you kind of like, I kind of understand. So you have the Stark in the first one, then you have 2 Hydra ones, and the whole, you're starting to see that almost like these bad memories are coming up because you have 2 Hydra commercials. But in this commercial, the whole they're like promoting some sort of like bar soap or like bath salt or like spa.
Is it literally called like Hydra
It's
soak?
like Hydra soak something, yeah.
And it's like unleash the inner goddess.
Release the inner goddess. Yeah. So the tagline for this commercial is "Find the goddess within," and that could mean one of 2 things. It could mean Wanda could free goddess-like power within herself, or it could mean that the goddess is in some way trapped within something, perhaps referring to the constructed reality Wanda and Vision live in. And then I saw another theory that said, what if Wanda wasn't really a witch? Because her powers don't come from an occult, they come from the Mind Stone. And so it was basically explaining that the Mind Stone tapped into some potential in her like human body, and that's why she has these powers, not because she's an actual witch, but almost like she is a goddess. So like the Mind Stone tapped into some goddess-like quality within her mind or her human self, and that's why she has these powers, which I thought which is like very interesting because I've never heard anyone bring that up. Okay, so the next big I'm sorry if you don't get through everything in this episode. I'm just gonna try and hit the like big things. First big thing that we see in this episode is the glitch that happens with Vision when Wanda kind of starts to, I feel like Wanda almost kind of manipulates him.
Oh, totally. I think Vision,
she brings up the conversation. She's like, she says something like, isn't it weird that like this is happening so fast, or like,
well, I think Wanda did the glitch. I think Wanda caused the glitch because right when Vision starts to question, he says like, something's wrong here, something's not right here.
Yeah, no, she definitely, but what this shows is that she's willing to manipulate somebody that she loves, which is something that we've never seen from Wanda before, which could show that she is becoming bad or there's somebody else influencing her decisions.
I don't know though, because in the first episode I talked a lot about how this could be a subconscious response to her trauma. And I talked a lot about how I think Wanda's going to be very willing to protect this and very willing to ignore things. And I think that desperation to hold on to this society that I talked about in episode 1, I think that would very much fuel her to say, you know what, I'm going to manipulate Vision. Because if there's any crack to this society, if there's anything that lets her know something's not going right, I don't think she would want to see that. I don't think she would want to believe that. I think the desperation to be in this reality, however warped it is, however wrong she knows it is, I think she's willing to put it off as long as she can just to be with Vision and just to have this like small, little, tiny, flawed like piece on Earth for her. So I think I didn't see that as like
about the possibility of a new villain. Mephisto,
to me,
the new fan theory that is arising, but I just want to get past everything that the glitch symbolizes and means.
Right.
It means that she's willing to manipulate the person she loves. And then 2, it means that Vision is in fact dead and he is not back, hasn't come back to life. Wow. He hasn't come back to life. I know there was theories about
because he would have been able to resist that
being like coming back from the dead and being an actual person, because in episode 2 we see him do his own thing. We see him at the neighborhood watch. We see him like being a human being. A lot of people who saw the show were like, oh, maybe he is really alive. But because if you notice, Wanda does this again. Wanda does this like manipulation tactic where like she lures somebody in to like to speaking the truth or like saying this reality isn't real with Geraldine. She does it again at the end of the episode, except the difference between Geraldine and Vision is that she's able to control Vision and move back, whereas with Geraldine, she can't do that because Geraldine is an actual person.
Is alive.
Does know the truth. And so she can eject her and be like, never mind, like I don't need you here, whereas Vision, she can't control.
If it was really Vision, I think he would be very much self-aware. Like he would know more.
He would know, and he would try to stop her.
Because we see with this couple, like they're not afraid to call each other out or resist each other. Like Wanda literally like slammed him into the earth when he tried to keep her in that little room during Civil War. Like we've seen instances of where they will stand up for what they believe in, if that means like if that means hurting each other, they will do it. So I think I don't know. I think that glitch confirmed 2 things for me: that Wanda's slightly losing it. Something's going on. I think Wanda's really, really on the verge of cracking here, and that Vision is indeed dead.
So now that she's pregnant in the comics, the way that she becomes pregnant is she unknowingly we're gonna bring in Mephisto. If you've read the comics, you know who Mephisto is. I believe he is a villain in Spider-Man. He shows up somewhere in the comics and somewhere else, and I forgot. But she, to create the babies, to create their souls, she unknowingly uses Mephisto's soul to create these kids, almost like, and Mephisto is literally the devil, is like Marvel's version of Satan. And she kind of creates this like soul bond weird thing with Mephisto, and people are questioning if Mephisto is almost controlling Wanda and influencing her. So a lot of people believe that this is Marvel's way of introducing a new villain, not only into WandaVision, but possibly into the rest of Marvel Phase 4. And if they are, they're doing it really well, because a lot of people believe that Wanda's gonna be the villain.
I've seen that.
There's a lot of Easter eggs too that people are picking up on that show it might be Mephisto coming. One of them is Agnes, who we believe, both of us, is really Agatha, and Agnes' husband being Mephisto, because you never see him. He's always talked about. In the first episode, you
Dang.
see going on and on about her husband. She's like, oh, he's the worst, like da da da, this and that. And then in the second episode, Dottie, who she says, the devil's in the details, and Agnes goes to Wanda and it's like, that's not the only place he's at.
Only thing the devil's oh,
and she's like, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
There's more. Let me. Okay, there's also the White Rabbit in episode 2. That Agnes lends to Wanda for her magic act in the same episode is named Senor Scratchy. In English, that translates to Mr. Scratch. Who are you telling?
Thank you, Grace. A podcast run by 2 Latino women, and you're like, well, let me define what Senor
means. I'm reading the paragraph. Or Mr. Scratchy. And in the comic books, Mephisto has often used the alias Nick Scratch and Jack Scratch. Agatha Harkness's son in the comics is also a villainous sorcerer named Nicholas Scratch. So I think that this, like, Marvel is doing a really good job at slowly slipping in, and it would be that's like how his character would come into any situation. Like, you wouldn't know that he's literally the devil. Like,
devil's in the details, bro. That's crazy, Grace.
That is really Satan. Like, of course he's not gonna come out and be like, I'm gonna ruin.
No, and be like, hey, no, it's gonna be embedded in everything.
Things in your mind. And so I think that's where this obsession from Wanda comes from, to stay in this world. And the longer she stays in this world, the powerful I think Mephisto is going to get, and the more influence Agnes is going to have on Wanda and Mephisto. The both of them will have.
That would explain
she's willing to manipulate her husband, and she's willing to, like, almost turn. And so people are like, is there a third party influence?
I think Mephisto, well, that's what I said earlier. I think Mephisto's really I don't think Wanda views it as herself going evil. I don't think I necessarily view it as Wanda turning evil. I just, look, this girl's been through the ringer, and I've talked about her desperation and, like, the psyche behind her choices going on here. I think that this would be a perfect time for Mephisto to enter this realm, because he is feeding off of Wanda's immense pain. And as we've seen in every Marvel movie, pain makes people desperate. Pain is at the center of every villain story. It's a classic villain recipe. And so, and we talked about that in the first episode too, before even talking about this. We talked about how there's great potential for Wanda to become a villain here. So I think it would be a perfect time for Mephisto to capitalize on both Wanda's pain and her power,
or break her down, because she was a villain before this. She was a villain in Age of Ultron. She could go back to being a villain, because she might have just had enough of it.
Even then, it defines it's define what you mean by villain. Like, she had just cause to be on the side of Ultron, and then when she thought Ultron was gonna wipe it off, then she I don't think she's inherently evil. I think the circumstances what makes her do right. Mephisto. Okay, so to connect Mephisto with bringing Marvel into Phase 4 and connecting with other realms, let's talk about the casting of Evan Peters. Let's talk about how he is.
The casting of Evan Peters.
He is listed to show up in the show, and as we know, Evan Peters plays Quicksilver in the X-Men franchise. So a lot of people think that they are going to use him to cross over into the X-Men franchise. And that would make sense with Mephisto as well.
Hope they do that. We also didn't talk about, last week we didn't talk about Jimmy Woo possibly coming back. Because his actor is in the cast list. And people believe that in the second episode when he's like, Wanda, who's doing this to you, Wanda, which is another indication of maybe it is Mephisto controlling Wanda.
Doing something to her,
He's like, Wanda, who's doing this to you, Wanda. Which means that Sword isn't, like, not that it's not controlling.
So that's why
there's certain things that Sword isn't doing.
Right.
That Wanda isn't doing.
Well, yeah. So if
like, what's happening? Like, who's doing?
So if Geraldine is Sword, which we know that she is, why, when she gets thrown out of the realm, why are they threatening her? Why is there a whole military base team surrounded by her? Yeah. No, if she was on, if Sword was right, so that's why I was like, there's a third party at work here.
Yeah, so people believe
there
that
for sure
Jimmy,
is.
Wu, and Monica are working together, almost to save Wanda and
help her,
like really help her, like use this town as a means to like help her,
right? Because they have been really one of the only signs we've seen of someone trying to break through to Wanda in a good way, to help her, to wake her up.
But
because we've seen, yeah. So well, that's all I really had to. Because Evan Peters is Quicksilver, who possesses the same. Who is like you could argue is Pedro,
like has the same powers, except the difference between him and Pietro? Is that Pietro? Mm-hmm. Yeah. The difference between Pietro and Evan Peters Quicksilver is I'm pretty sure Evan Peters is born with his powers. That's the whole thing with X-Men, is that all these group of kids are born with their powers. They're like superhuman. And that's how that whole X-Men thing is.
Right, because they're another class of
Pietro is that he's made.
An experiment.
Yeah, he's an experiment.
Hydra.
But
still, the coincidence there is too heavy to not talk about. Like there has
they're definitely doing
come on, man. They're doing something with
Quicksilver.
him, and I thought he was gonna. Yeah, I thought Evan Peters was gonna come in to episode 3. I thought, but I was really shocked that we have still not seen. We've still not seen Kat Dennings, Darcy, or Evan Peters at all. But
there's a lot. Yeah. There's at least the actor who plays Jimmy Woo, Evan Peters, and there's another actor who don't, like, when you look up the cast, they don't have character names. Kat Dennings, it already says Darcy, so we already
Darcy
back at Darcy.
Yeah.
I hope
I can't imagine who. I think they
over X-Men.
I think if they did cast Evan as Quicksilver, that would give too much away. But I definitely think this is start of Phase 4, and I also think I was talking about this
to like trick her into thinking that her brother's still alive.
Pedro's alive, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's what he might be there.
Yeah, thinking about since all the drama went down with Spider-Man and the kind of next class of the Avengers is inevitably a no-go. I think this might be Marvel's way of starting a next generation, next class of really expanding the world of Marvel in order to create another class of superheroes, because we've already seen all we can see within the universe, right?
Phase 4, because with the Eternals in Shanghai, and then Loki and Doctor Strange's show. Also, we have to talk about the Doctor Strange fan theory.
Doctor Strange, yeah.
Loki and the Doctor Strange show are expanding the multiverse, and then you have Eternals in Shanghai, which are two things we've never heard of before in the Marvel.
I'm just saying the timing makes perfect sense, logistically, storyline wise. When you look into the politics of how these movies are made too, it makes perfect sense why they would be expanding the universe right now. So let's talk about Doctor Strange.
Yeah, okay, so Doctor Strange, the new Doctor Strange show takes place right after WandaVision. And so what I believe is happening is because Wanda has messed up so many things in the multiverse with using her powers, it's up to Doctor Strange to almost fix these things, and at the same time they're going to explain how the multiverse works.
Yeah, because we don't know.
So the fan theory is that Doctor Strange is in on the whole thing, and he's helping Wanda through her 5 stages of grief. This theory is interesting. It's not like Marvel it was like, yes, it's just a fan theory. So the theory is that Doctor Strange is helping Wanda through the 5 stages of grief. He's in, and
not only that he has taken. This is a stretch. This is where I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there are some fans who speculate that Vision is not Vision, and he is in fact Doctor Strange, pretending to be.
It's that Doctor Strange goes in at certain parts and becomes Vision.
I've seen
that he's
okay.
That he's Vision. Like when I read it.
Yeah, I've also seen like I saw a TikTok that was like, this would explain why Vision does this. That's not like a Vision's character, da da da. And I was just like, this is kind of problematic because she has a kid.
Because she has, not that we obviously know that it definitely isn't Vision's kid, because Vision is a robot, and cannot do that.
Yes. And this theory that Doctor Strange is guiding Wanda through the stages. This comes from an article on CBR.com. This is where I got this info.
Yeah. It's an interesting theory. I feel like it works, but then there are certain things that contradict it, because also in that theory, they believe that Doctor Strange is the voice over the
the intercom thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have more of a confirmation that it would be Jimmy Woo, because his actor, the actor that plays him, is in the cast list, and not
It also doesn't sound like Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it also doesn't sound like him either.
No. There's ways around that, of course. I'm just,
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be cool if he came in at some point. He definitely would be the one to help Wanda, because his powers are very similar to hers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it would make sense.
It makes sense. It makes sense that he's involved somehow. I'm not quite sure I can get behind the thought that he's Vision.
Yeah, that is a lot.
But yeah, this episode really
one of
blew everything open.
I'm excited for is the hinting at Young Avengers. If you were 7 years old, and if you were around in 2008, and I don't know what television company it was on, but if you used to watch the Young Avengers cartoons, this one is for us, babe. This one is for us.
This one's for y'all. Take it.
Because the whole story of Billy and Tommy is that because their souls belong to Mephisto, at a certain point, Wanda forgets about their existence, and Mephisto takes control of them. And this causes in the comics, this causes Wanda's breakdown, which I'm wondering if maybe they're gonna, I feel like it would be a good catalyst for things to happen in WandaVision. So he basically like takes the kids away from her, and she like has this spiral, and then at some point,
because Homegirl is one minor inconvenience away from ripping this whole universe to shreds.
And she already has. That's the thing. She already
is. Yeah, right.
And you see that in this episode with the contractions. Like it affects
everything.
And she's, I don't like, in that one episode, she's probably like torn through different universes and different timelines and different realms that we're gonna get into in I believe in the Doctor Strange series. But yeah, after I believe at a certain point she finally regains her kids, and then they become part of the Young Avengers.
That makes perfect sense. That we're gonna cross into Mephisto.
Yeah, which is, they've talked about it, because Jeremy Renner has talked about it, and I believe Hawkeye is supposed to have some sort of like influence on the Young Avengers, and he's supposed to like help form them, which I'm very excited about, because Marvel, if you need to cast anyone, just as like an aside, throwing this out there, don't ever
just an aside, just if you want some
like person number one, barista in the background,
we got you. Let's go.
We are there. Or if you want to give us a role, hey,
yeah, you know what? Let's give a young Latina actress a role. Let's go, Marvel. Come on, let's get with it.
But yeah, this episode picked up really fast, and it was
and I'm glad it did.
Thank goodness, because the
first two episodes, it was really good, but I was like,
it was cute, but I was like,
I needed some confirmation in order to keep me going, and this gave me confirmation, and then I was like, okay, we're on a let's go, Marvel, let's see. So I think this episode was brilliant as always. I'm sure there's going to be more that's uncovered in this episode as we go ahead and watch more. I'm sure there's going to be more instances where we're like, oh wait, but this was crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot. I hope they bring Mephisto. I think that'll be like that'll be some of the best writing I have ever seen. And the fact that they could take that time of like planting these little Easter eggs that like
which explains the series
at the time. Like when I read that back and they were like the devil's angels, and she's like, that's not the
I was like, I know.
And then her son having the same last name as the human alias that he would use. Yeah. So I guess we'll see. Because we also know that Agnes, like, there's something sus about her. Something really sus.
I told you from day one I did not. I told you I was talking about how Agnes wanted to take her children or something. Agnes, I knew that Agnes and Wanda's kids or something, and it makes sense if she is
she's
working with
the
Mephisto.
one when she's talking to Vision's neighbor that like she's like
like she had a belly.
Yeah,
she said something about Wanda.
Yeah, she's like, is Geraldine, like, she's the one who's worried, and she's the one who stops the guy from revealing to Vision that this isn't real. And also in the trailer, she says to Vision, she's like, can you see me or something? He's like, can you see me? And she's like, yes, because I'm dead, like, and you're dead.
And like, you're dead.
It makes sense that she's dead and that she's married to Satan, because it just like it makes sense.
Oh.
That she would have, and that she would be dead and she would be able to be human and trick Sword into thinking that she wants to be an agent. Oh, stop.
Yeah. No, you just said that right now, and I was like, okay.
Stop, because
I think
that's
the devil's in the details line is really it. I think that's our
and then the bunny being called Senior Scratchy.
Senior Scratchy.
Yeah, I feel like this third episode kind of really confirms that. And if Marvel, not that I'm gonna be upset if they don't do it, and I'm just gonna be like, you like built it up so well. Like,
you had every single time. Well, and my thing is, they have to now, because we know that there is a third party involved.
Yeah, we know, because
like,
the comics talk
Geraldine
about,
being and Geraldine being threatened right after she gets out of this little world. That confirmed, like, hey, because we know she's Sword. That confirmed, like, no, I think something else is at work here.
When she gets ejected and they like gang up on her, I think it'd be one of two things. I think it could be they know that there's somebody in the community that is fake and that is
trying to break it,
and that is trying to control Wanda or use her, and they don't know who it is, and that's why when Geraldine gets
I was also
thinking, be like, oh, what if it's her? Or it could just...
Well, I was also thinking that it could be then, like, their form of punishment, like she did something wrong, so then they were like, oh, we need to, like, take her in for questioning. But both of those things are...
the next episode.
We won't, but both of those things are weak. I don't know, for me, that was just, like, confirmation.
There was another Geraldine theory or Easter egg that she kind of almost caused other people to wake up in the community.
Yes, I saw that.
She herself like mentioned Ultron, and then you see, I feel like Agnes is aware of everything at this point.
Yes, I think Agnes knows all.
Is not. I said from
the start, I was like, no, something's up.
But the neighbor wasn't always sus. The neighbor kind of like, because he even almost tells Vision what's happening.
Yeah.
And Agnes is like, no. So I think I think either Monica caused other people to like wake up from this like dreamlike state of whatever they're in.
Well, it's also every time Monica appears, someone wakes up.
I think something's now up. Sword is picking up that there's somebody in there that is gonna compromise whatever's happening, which is why I think they gang up on Geraldine when she comes out.
That makes sense.
She might be the scapegoat. She might be Agnes's scapegoat to buy Agnes more time. I don't know. That's too. I really am just spitballing right now. But,
no, that makes a lot of sense. I just hope that's not.
But it makes sense, which is she would stop him from saying anything.
I really hope that's not the case.
But I hope it's not true, because even on the radio,
I really hope they don't make Geraldine.
Like, even on the radio, when the agent is like, Wanda, who's doing this to you, they have some sort of like indication that there's something going on in the town that they're not controlling, and that Wanda can control the town, but somebody's also influencing her. Because they've put her in this controlled environment, and they've been able to influence everything that she's done. And there's certain things that she's doing that they are probably not a part of. And that's where the question comes from, like, who's doing this to you? Yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm very excited for next week's episode.
Me too, because now the ball's rolling. Things are starting to happen. I want to see. I really want to see Darcy. I really would love to see Mr. Evan Peters come in next week. I have no idea.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You could literally, like, this show is literally a wormhole. You could just, like, keep
it's so good
going at it forever and ever, because it seems like they're adding new elements with the multiverse, and then possibly bringing the X-Men, which I hope they do, because I know they crossover, and I think that'd be really
I hope they do as well. I hope we see that. And it makes sense with the franchise being practically, done. They need more. We need more. We need a bigger. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, like, we've seen it all. Marvel's, you know what I mean? So it's time to cross over into the next realm, I think. And I think Phase 4 is definitely going to be doing that. And I think isn't it confirmed that WandaVision is the first Marvel project in Phase 4?
Yeah. That's the only confirmed thing, I think, that gets me about the X-Men and possibly X-Men and the Avengers crossing is that X-Men isn't owned by Marvel, they're owned by Fox. And that is the only, like, and I know in the past that has been what has stopped a lot of things. Same thing with, like, Fantastic Four and X-Men are owned by Fox. But if I think out some sort of deal,
but if they already cast Evan Peters, I think cards are on the table. I think cards are on the table. I think a contract has already been brought up. Like, I think it's time to play.
And I hope they don't do us dirty like
Sony. I hope they don't do us dirty like Sony. But we digress. But yeah. So this episode was fantastic.
Yeah, this episode was great. Definitely
a lot to unpack.
More DMs and
send us your theories
that you think we should talk about or look into. More fan theories. I think they're really interesting, the things that people come up with, even if they're true or not. I think it's very cool to.
I think it's awesome. I love it. Please keep letting us know what you guys think, because we love to see it. We love to talk about it and discuss, and that's really what this podcast is. I don't know. For me, this is like just a nice, safe, fun space to talk about everything.
Yeah, just talking about anything and everything. Yeah, thanks for listening, guys.
Well, we'll be back with our episode 3, which is covering episode 4. Pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, please continue to reach out, and thanks for listening.
All right, bye.